Hey guys, Travis Cook here of Learning How to Think. It's the 29th of October 2020. So I'm deepening my knowledge and understanding of common law, and I'm going to share this process as I learn more, as it unfolds, this extra bit of knowledge that I'm getting, because it's very, very interesting. And I have another example of you guys of it being used in a practical sense to defend oneself, one's property, one's right to be a free person, to be a free man, to be a free woman. As you have the common law, the highest law in the land, the law that was given to you as your birthright from being a human being in this land. So here's a really nice video for you to check out. It's about how a man defended himself against the revenue generators, shall we say. But of course, the men, the policemen who have just been duped, they don't really know what they're doing. They just have been caught up in this magic law system that isn't actually even real, really. It's all just smoke and mirrors, but it shows again how powerful consent is, how powerful our words are. So check out this video.
I want to share with you some success we've been having with a takeaway in the northeast. This takeaway is listed with a common law court, and it's using common law to fend off attempts to fine them for not wearing masks. Before I go into how they've managed to fend off these attempts, it's important that you understand that common law is alive and well in our country. It always has been. We just didn't know about it because they tried to get rid of it through ignorance by just not telling us about it. Common law sits above the government. The government is a corporation, and as such cannot tell any living man or living woman what to do. Any acts, statutes or regulations that come out of government are only possible through contract law. Contract law requires the consent of both parties. You may have heard MPs say that they're governing by consent. This is because they require our consent. Our ancestors fought and died for this right and our freedom. It's also important to note that the scientific evidence behind mask wearing is unstable. The owner of this takeaway has carried out a full and comprehensive risk assessment on the risks involved in wearing masks, and they've carried out a lot of research before they made their decision. The risk assessment is documented, and the employer can clearly demonstrate they are abiding by their duty of care as an employer, not only through common law, but also through all the acts, regulations and approved codes of practice put in place by the statutory system. The first visit was not recorded, and the manager had no clear understanding of how common law protected his rights, but he carried out his due diligence and did not want to commit to wearing a mask. In this video, it's the second attempt at extorting money from the takeaway. You will see that the manager has tried to explain that he is exempt, but the police officer has not accepted his reason.
Young man, you need to wear a mask.
I've
got asthma.
Yeah, I can't breathe in one.
You can breathe in one, because you can breathe if you've got asthma. You need an exemption certificate, or we'll be closing your premises, okay?
I can't breathe one about it.
So, don't say you haven't been warned. This will be reported to the council, alright?
I need to stop the video here, as what happens next is very important. Although the manager was only just starting to learn common law, he knew enough to not get himself trapped.
Do you understand?
Do you understand? Do you understand is not common English. It's actually legalese, and it's legalese for do you agree to stand under my authority?
I don't understand, I don't understand under you, okay?
You don't understand? Right.
I don't stand under you.
Right. Okay, well, you've been warned.
The manager has made it clear that he does not consent, and the police officer has no other alternative but to leave. In this next video, which is the third extortion attempt, the attendee was a licensing officer from the council, again another authority. But by this time, the manager was more confident in his rights, as you can see.
I'll put my hand on it, yeah? I just want to have a chat, that's all, it's nothing. What is your reason for not wearing a face mask?
I'd like to answer this question.
Yes, you are.
Under what legislation?
Code of Reg. I'm asking a simple question.
Under what legislation are
Why
you
are,
using?
can I ask, why aren't you wearing a mask? That's all I'm asking you.
I'm not obliged to.
Yes, you are.
Under what legislation?
Under the Code of Regulations, health and safety.
Okay. What does the legislation say?
Would you like to answer the question, yes or no?
You answer the question, my consent.
I'm asking you a simple question, sir.
Am I, okay, no, what do I look to you? Am I a man?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
How would you like to address me? Sorry,
okay.
how would you like
Am I
to
a
address
man?
me? My perception is that you are.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you give me your evidence that that legislation, Coronavirus Act,
how would you like
applies to a man?
How would you like me to
Can you give me an evidence?
You may notice that the licensing officer continually asks him, "How would you like me to address you?" In other words, give me your details so I can send you a fine.
How would you like me to
Please,
address you?
can you give me an evidence that
Evidence of
your
what?
legislation that you're relying on applying to a man?
Right. Can you just answer my question? How would you like me to address you?
You haven't answered my question. You haven't fucking answered my
Right, I'm trying to have a polite conversation with
Give
you.
me an evidence that your legislation applies to a
This
man.
isn't going anywhere. Right, I'm
Thank
just
you very much.
asking. I'm going to turn my camera
Have
off.
you,
I'm gonna
okay,
leave
there's
now.
a sign on that door. Have you read it, sir?
I've just.
Have you read it?
Listen.
No, have you read the sign, sir?
No, I have not.
Okay,
read
can
the
you
sign.
please read it?
No, trespass notice. I'm not trespassing. Am I trespassing?
Well, you mean yes, you are.
Well, I've just come in and I've asked you if you're open. So you're not open.
No, you're trying to intimidate me. Sorry, sir. You're trying to intimidate me.
Right, okay, we'll leave it there. I'll pass on, before you go, sir, I will be passing this conversation on to the council, okay? I've tried to be fair, I've tried to be polite, you won't even engage with me.
No comments.
Okay, fair enough.
This next video, which is the 4th visit, the harassment has gone up a level. The attempted extorters are now a sergeant and a PC. The manager has his notice of non-consent printed out, which makes it clear to the officers that he does not wish to contract with them.
Any reply you want to make?
I hand you a notice. Here. You could just go forward. Can I have your name, please?
Certainly, yeah. Do you want me to write it down, please?
Please, yeah. And your name, sir, please.
Tôi mày ignore lại cái đó.
Can you have a read through this, brother? Make sure you understand the context, please.
I'll take it with me. Obviously, I'm recording it as well, so I'll take it with it. We'll digest it. But what I would suggest is...
one copy, please. Okay, then if you take that with you, I'll pass you one copy.
Okay, no problem. But as I said, you'll be summoned, with regard to that breach. Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
The officers threatening him with summoning him to court, but they have left again without taking any details. Without his details, they cannot fine him, and they cannot summon him. Again, there is no consent. The 5th visit is a voice recording only. However, it's the same sergeant as the 4th visit, and the sergeant is stating that on licensed premises, he has authority over our manager. That is not the case. The takeaway, for a start, doesn't have nor require a license, and even if it did have a license, you'd have to abide by the terms of that license. It doesn't mean that all other acts, statutes and rights go out the window because you have a license to fish or serve alcohol. Again, the officer is unable to gain authority over our manager and leaves with empty threats but no details.
I don't wish to contract with you. I don't wish to contract with you. Keep away. I don't wish to contract with you. As I've mentioned before, it's statutory rules It's not the law without my consent, and I don't consent.
Okay, you'll keep getting fines. Unfortunately, that doesn't work when you operate a licensed premises. You have to consent, otherwise you can't trade.
I don't consent. I don't consent. You are trespassing, by the way. Please leave. Please leave now. Please leave now. You are trespassing.
On a licensed premises, you have to permit
Please
the
leave this
law
land. You
to
are
enter.
trespassing, please.
No, we're not.
Please leave. You are trespassing.
It's a licensed premises. It has to be
This
trespassing.
is private land.
Which
Please
you
leave. You
have
are
a license to
trespassing.
draw.
There is a notice at the door. Please read it and understand it. Please leave.
Our sixth and final visit follows. As you will see, the frustration is evident. To quote Einstein, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Right, you're still serving without wearing a face mask. I'm going to report you again. You do not have to say anything. You may harm any defence. Do not mention any question. Mention now something which you can later on in court. Anything you do say may be given.
I do not consent.
You don't have to consent.
Well, I haven't written my right, but I haven't given you my right. Have I?
You haven't given me your
This
rights.
is my right not to consent.
Consent to what?
I haven't handed my rights to you yet.
You don't need to hand me your rights. It's an offence not to wear face coverings.
It's the law. It's the law of the land. It applies to
Which
everybody.
door?
So there's a couple of errors that these officers have made at this point. Firstly, the first officer said that our manager does not have to consent. This is not the case. Consent is required. Secondly, I don't know if you picked up on what the second officer said when he said it's the law of the land. This isn't true. Common law is the true law. That is the law of the land. Anything that comes out of government, statutes, acts, anything that's passed through Parliament is actually Admiralty maritime law. It's the law of the sea. It's the foreign law.
Which law?
There's
To wear a face
COVID-19 regulations.
Pardon?
The COVID-19 regulations 2020.
What law are you relying on? What law are you using?
I've just told you.
What law?
I've just told you.
Are you talking about coronavirus?
Your friend's recording it, so play it back and it'll tell you what law.
Can you please identify yourself, please?
Yeah, police officer 132 from Shulden office.
Can I have your name, please?
768. 132 Akins.
Can you write it down?
768 Brown.
You're racking up quite a bill. They double every time we give you one of these.
I do not consent.
Up to a maximum of
I do not consent. I don't wish to contract with you.
I'm happy for you, but you
I
still-
don't wish to
it's
contract
still
with
the
you.
law of the
I
land.
don't wish to contract with you.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that.
You are trespassing, mate. You
No,
have to
we're
leave.
not.
You are trespassing.
No, we're
You
not.
are trespassing. Please leave.
Your license purpose.
You are, please leave. You
How
are
can we
trespassing.
trespass
You
with
are
police
trespassing.
officers
You
on
are
a licensed
trespassing.
person?
If you are trespassing, please leave.
We'll see it tomorrow.
I've no doubt we'll see you in court.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
So again, these police officers have left without details, without consent, and without being able to issue a fine. It is worth pointing out here that these two members of the police force are actually officers. There is a significant difference between an officer and a constable. A constable takes an oath to keep the peace, and the officer doesn't take an oath, as they are merely revenue collectors, pretty much the same as a traffic warden. They are only there to contribute to the millions in profit that the privately owned corporate police force makes. Our takeaway manager has made it clear that he does not wish to contract with these officers. At what point does this become bullying, harassment, and criminal coercion? If someone says no to you, do you then go back again and again to try and force them to contract with you? What is important to remember here is that we do not wish to cause anybody any harm. We have carried out our research and we are exercising our unalienable rights to earn a living. We have the right to do this without threat or financial penalty. If you wish to learn more about your rights under common law, please join our Telegram group. I'll put the link in the description. There you can find out more about the common law court, and we, as a community of woke living souls, can help and support each other. Thanks for watching.
So, quite powerful, huh? So again, shows you what you can do when you know your rights and you stand your ground. But of course, it could have been even easier for this man had he known more already. So preparation is key, and I think we're going to need it more and more as these, if the restrictions continue to get worse, as they continue to try to push against people. And it's quite beautiful though. I'm seeing the people who are already awake becoming stronger and stronger and stronger, more knowledgeable, more powerful. And that's what we need. It's okay. It's good to wake up as many as we can, but those just starting, that, you know, then as they've got nothing on somebody who's put hours and hundreds of hours into this and has really developed themselves into them. Why I mention this is because I think the people who are going to make the most positive change, it's not going to be the majority. It's going to be the people who are the upper percentage of people who are already awake. And I mean that is in the most knowledgeable, the strongest, the most bravest, courageous. And it's going to be these people, the people who are at the top percentage of people who want to help others and help themselves. It's going to be up to us to lead the way, and then others will follow. So, of course, it's all well and good to try and awake everybody, but if you're already on the awakening journey, now it's time to crystallize your journey. It's time to become even stronger, more powerful, more knowledgeable, and we will win this fight.